on.
What's up, everybody? And welcome into your NFL pregame show. I'm Rob Trujillo. That's Sterling.
What's up?
That's Sterling. That's Dave. And we still think Dave's here for the dudes. Dave, did we come up with a nickname for you yet? Or?
That's your job.
Hey, what were you calling him before? Nickname? What were you calling him weeks ago?
Dave for the dudes?
Wow.
Well, it's Sterls for the girls, you know.
You gonna let him do? You gonna let him
come up with something else that I can call you?
And then Rob for the theys? I don't. What are we doing?
Yeah, sure.
Here?
That's fine. I don't discriminate. That's fine. You know, I'll take love from anybody. What kind of love changes, but I'll take love from anybody.
I was about to say, bro. I mean, it's like, is there something you're not telling us here?
Nah, man. I take love from the two of you all the time. You know what I mean? I'll take love from anybody. No.
That'll cost you double cotton.
Welcome into your NFL pregame show. This is where we go around. We talk mostly about bets because, you know, you guys have been slacking. Really, honestly, we've got to hate on our listeners a little bit here, I think is what we need to do. Because we haven't gotten a single fantasy question for like 2 or 3 weeks. And I don't know. I guess I do feel around my group of friends like fantasy is kind of going the way of the dinosaur. But I still feel like there's enough like leagues, like traditional leagues and stuff that you guys, I mean, there's enough out there. Do either of you guys play fantasy right now?
Yeah, but my team sunk, bro. We're not good.
Just like everything you touch.
Aha! Okay, I see what we're doing. Okay.
I'm mad at Sterls. You know, we can throw this out on the podcast. I'm mad at Sterls because he abandoned me this week. Wouldn't do a Bills podcast with me. Told me he hates me.
I did.
Wouldn't sit with me at the bar last week after he made such a big deal about coming.
You know, terrible me, huh?
I'm just saying.
You know, it's terrible me that I had people show up to the bar. You know,
barely.
How
what was it? The second quarter that they showed up.
Not even Bills fans.
I know, and they said like he sat alone at a different table for a whole quarter because he just didn't like me that much. You know what I mean? So. All right. Let's see what's going on in the world right now before. Hey, do we want to I want to take 2 seconds because we have on here spent time talking about Sterls' Big Blue last year, which, Michigan deserved it. They were a good team last year, and it was an interesting story. I feel like we got to take 2 seconds here and talk about Coach Prime.
Man, whoa,
I don't know if you guys have been watching, but
Yeah.
holy shit, man. Like, that is a good football team. That is a good football team that
Is well coached.
And here's what I've said about Prime since the beginning. Is he gonna like get in there and design a game plan to beat, Kyle Whittingham's? No, he's not. That's not what he does. What he is a CEO. He's the guy that goes and makes sure you meet all the donors, you get all the money, you get celebrities on the sideline, and you recruit and you tell these guys, come play for Coach Prime. You're going to get more. Now, listen, spotlight's going to be bright. And if you do shitty like you did last year, it's going to be terrible. But I don't know, man. I gotta shout out Coach Prime and the CU Buffs. They control their own destiny. Tough Kansas team next week in Arrowhead Stadium, and then they'll play Oklahoma State. But I mean, they are tied for the top of the Big 12 right now, and I know the Big 12 isn't what it was a couple years ago, but I don't know. Either you have comments to add there, because I've been really impressed.
Yeah, I think the biggest notable change with the Buffs this year is that defense. You're getting contributions from guys on the defensive line. Nakai Hill-Green, he's a transfer from Michigan. He was like the third string linebacker. He's playing really well.
Love their two linebackers. Him and Bev, both good.
You got to go back to, I think, the addition of Warren Sapp as a defensive line assistant, and then their defensive line. I think their defensive line coach or defensive coordinator from I think the Seahawks last year.
No, Bengals.
Yes.
Livingston?
Bengals.
Yeah. You can see a big difference in just how the defense approaches the game, and it's like that's been the difference, because we knew the offense was going to be good, but what they're able to do defensively. I mean, listen, Utah was the best defense in the Big 12. I think that belongs to Colorado right now.
I mean, listen, nobody had put up more than 27 points on Utah all year.
Yeah.
So Utah's defense is still real good. You know what I mean? Arizona State put up 27 against them. Arizona put up 23 against them. Undefeated BYU put up 22 against them. And then the Buffs go off for 50 yesterday. It's 49 points they put on that Utah defense yesterday. It's incredible, David.
Yeah, dude. Nah, man, it's fun to watch, man. I did not expect
you were right.
them to be that
Warren
good.
Sapp for that defense.
Yeah.
Huge.
No,
it's
neither did I.
impressive.
And again,
go ahead.
I thought, Pat Shurmur was going to do a good job. That offense, we expect some explosion. Our concern, even at the beginning of this season, was the defense. And like you said, Warren Sapp being there for the quality control on defense has meant a lot. They're getting the most out of their players right now. And, I'm not huge on college football, but watching that team play, you go, oh, this is real. This isn't just, part of me went, oh, okay, Dion, it's going to be basically like Hard Knocks for college football. It's about, having a big, loud personality there at coach, but they made some decisions in the offseason. They did some good recruiting. Obviously, when you've got, an offense that was already clicking and you add a little firepower and then you tweak that defense, it's been fun to watch.
Yeah.
Dion said in his post game yesterday, like, oh, we think we have the best receiving core in the nation. Like, I think that's absolutely true. Like, their wide receivers are absolutely bonkers. They put in the sixth guy and he just rips somebody up. So it's incredible. I will say this, and Sturls, you can chime in here. They've got two guys who are going to probably be top 5 picks in this draft. They got 3 top 5 picks on that team. Jordan Seaton, for all the offensive line problems they had last year. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to watch him yet, Sturls.
Yeah.
He was a 5-star recruit, I believe, out of IMG in Florida. And it was a big deal that they got him. And damn, is he playing good football. He struggled a little bit yesterday, but overall on the season, he's been incredible. And I think I think he's going to be a top 5 pick at some point.
Yeah, man. Jordan Seaton is he's good. That boy is really good. I'm trying to think who else would be Draylon Miller. I think if they continue, I mean, he's a freshman, 4-star, but I think if they continue to use him in multifaceted ways, I think, I mean, there were talks about in the recruiting trail that he was very Debo-esque. And if they can get unlock that somehow, I mean, we saw a little bit of it yesterday, but if they can continue to unlock that, that's going to be huge. And then they got I think they're going to land Julian is another 5-star quarterback.
Yeah, Juju Lewis.
Yeah. So they're knocking on his door. So if they can get him as a 5-star recruit at quarterback, I mean, dude, the sky's the limit for the Buffs, man. It's nice.
Yeah, I wanted to spend a couple minutes on it because I don't know. Listen, I think the CFP is begging. CU, don't screw this up. Get into our college football playoff. They might be one of those teams like Boise might be so good that they get the bye instead of, a Big 12 champion CU, which would mean you would have a home playoff game at Folsom Field, and the ratings for that would just be massive. Could you imagine Tennessee versus CU in Folsom Field for the CFP? It'd be incredible.
That'd be nice. That'd be cool.
All right. So like we said, this is your NFL pregame show. So get in if you've got questions about Stardom Situm, Survivor Pool. Oh, God, if you're still in a Survivor Pool, God bless you. Stardom Situm, Survivor Pool, your bets, props, whatever you got questions about, throw them in the comments. We will try to answer everything that comes up. Let's get into this NFL slate. A pretty good one today, I feel like. We've had a couple real duds the past few weeks, but a good one today, including this one. And it's funny because, when you bring up the Bears, everybody kind of just rolls their eyes a little bit. They're 4-5. They're right on the outside of the NFL, of the NFC playoffs, rather. They are catching 5.5 points at home. They just fired their offensive coordinator. For the Packers coming in today, and Packers are getting healthier. Jordan Love's getting healthier, and you think that might be the best team in that division. Oh, wait, the Lions are there. Never mind. But I'd say that to say, this is a really good football team. And if they were in any division other than a division with the Detroit Lions, we might be talking about them as a slam dunk division champion. So a big game in Chicago today, Sterls. Who you like? Bears plus 5.5 at home.
I'll take the Packers here, -6. And I know, the Bears, they fired their offensive coordinator. You expect them to a little bump there, but I mean, I got to see it first. Caleb Williams has kind of been disappointing to me this year. So I think the Packers, one thing that they can rely on is their defense. I think their defense is really good. It's underrated. And Jordan Love, I think, going into Soldier Field, I'm not too concerned. So I'll you know what? And if I was to juice the spread, I mean, I would even go -10 on the Packers here. Wow. That's how confident I am in the pick.
-10.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Goddamn.
First of all, shout out to Kenny G. Thanks for hopping in. We appreciate you being on board with us here. David, what's your thoughts here? You going to go -10 on us as well, or?
No chance in hell.
He said
So the Packers are getting a good deal healthier. They have a couple of people questionable and a few outs, but nothing major for them. The Bears, on the other hand, have 2 offensive tackles out. Montez Sweat, the defensive end, is out. I think this is a game that Green Bay should win, and I think they're going to win. I'll take my 5.5. Please and thank you. I wouldn't juice it to 10.
All right, so both of you guys are going Packers -5.5. I'm going to take the Bears.
He's going with the Bears.
I'm going to take the Bears here, and here's why I'm going to take the Bears here. Caleb Williams, if you've watched him play, and I did at Oklahoma, I did at SC, and now I have with the Bears. He gets a little too into himself sometimes, right? I think his biggest problem is that he gets too Josh Allen-y. And sometimes Josh Allen gets too Josh Allen-y for my liking. Dog, see it, rip it. I don't need you, pirouetting across the 20-yard line and taking a sack, right? So I think there's been a lot of talk about that this week. I think a new offensive coordinator coming in. I don't even know who it is. Doesn't matter to me. He is going to call very defined reads, very quick throws, and try to make sure he gets the ball out of Caleb's hand. And with so much emphasis from the outside, from the media, giving Caleb a hard time about, hey, dog, get the ball out of your hands. Josh Allen has been at the best we've seen him since 2020. Why? Because he's been taking profits. Take the easy throws. When it's open, throw the football. And I think that's what you can expect from Caleb Williams today. I think the Bears make a solid effort of it at home. Those Chicago fans are dead ass tired of losing to the Green Bay Packers. We as Bills fans went through that when it was the Patriots. So I just think there's going to be a lot of juice in that stadium for a team that is still in the playoff race. I think they ultimately end up losing, but I'll take the 5.5. I think they come out and surprise a little bit today.
So their offensive coordinator's going to be Thomas Brown. He was the running backs coach for the Rams last year.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
just banking on the fact that I bet he knows football would be my guess.
The Packers are 4-5 against the spread this season, and the Bears are 5-4.
And listen, there's something to be said for feeling like your team's still in it. Now, there are rumors that the vets went to Eberflus last week and said they wanted Caleb benched, and there's different ways to shake a quarterback when he's not playing well, right? One of the ways is benching him. Another of the ways is firing his offensive coordinator. And I think maybe they will have shook him a little bit here. So we'll see. I could be dead wrong. Biggest spread of the day, biggest spread of the year. The 2-8 Jaguars with David's favorite Mac Jones headed to Detroit to play the Detroit Lions. Plus 13.5 for the Jags here. Now, I'll start because y'all know my rule, and I'm sticking by it. And I will make an argument for it, too, if you want me to. Since I think it was 2000, David, you were the one that actually looked up this stat because I hadn't seen it in a couple of years. But since 2000, if you pick teams that are minus 10 points or more in the NFL, you're hitting at about a 60% rate. Don't tell an NFL team that they're 2 scores worse than another NFL team. It's just kind of the rule. So I'll take the Jaguars. I'll take the 13.5 points. It is my rule. I never bet against a 10-plus point spread. I'm getting 13.5 here. Listen, Mac Jones almost won Rookie of the Year. He's been a starter in this league. You know, I think they got a lot of talent on that Jacksonville team. I do. I think their defensive line is really good. I think they've got decent wide receivers. Brian Thomas Jr. looks like he's for real. And Detroit, man, like, right, there you go. Kenny G. The Detroit, they've just been steamrolling everybody. Like, they're going to get tired of it at some point. We're hitting that low point in the season. I do think so. They're going to get up for the big games. This isn't a big game. And one of the hardest things to do when you're that good of a team is stay focused for a 2-8 Jaguars team who's starting Mac Jones. I'll take the 13.5 points.
No Tank Dell, no Trevor Lawrence. Questionable offensive line. I do like their defense. I like Brian Thomas Jr. I'd take him on the Bills in a heartbeat, but Mac Jones is your quarterback for today. He had 15 yards maybe last week. I don't
in a game they almost won. Oh, okay. All right. I made money on the Jags last week, dog. Don't.
So I'm almost as confident as Sterles was in the first game. I'd pump this up to 20.5 points. I feel like the Lions are just going to –
you should just get in a little love fest and build yourself a little parlay.
Okay, I'll do it right now.
Fucking Packers minus 10, Lions minus 20.
You know,
20.5.
Give me the safe bet in this thing is the over. The over's at 47. That's a safe bet. Right now, you have
the safe bet. The Jaguars scored 7 points last week.
And the Lions could score 60 on them. So I mean, there's that. Right now,
don't discount the Jaguars defense, man. Like,
hey, I'm just saying, look, right now, okay, so the spread, 83% of the bets are on the Lions. Minus
that's exactly the time that you fade that.
Right. And then obviously 97% money line Detroit. We know they're probably going to win the game. And then on the under over, you have 74% on the over in this game. Just FYI.
Listen,
I mean,
very much stay away from doing what the crowd does.
If Jacksonville scores 14, I think that over is not an issue. I actually, like Rob said, their defense is pretty good. I don't know if I have them as a 40-point game. I don't know. I'm going to take that 13.5, and I'm going to ride with the Lions because I think they're probably going to spank the shit out of them. But that's me.
Haters.
And this is the Lions are 7-2 against the spread this season. The Jaguars are 6-4.
Listen, while they still had to prove who they were.
Yeah.
Now everybody's telling you that you're the best team in the league. You know what I mean? Like, I'm serious. All right, here we go.
All right.
Vikings and Titans. You look up all of a sudden, and the Vikings are 7-2, and you can look at that like two really different ways to me. You look up and they're 7-2, you're like, I didn't expect them to be that good. Or you look up and they're 7-2, and you realize that they started 5-0 and they've been 2-2 since.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's an interesting spot for the Vikings to be in. They barely squeaked by the Jags last week. The Mac Jones Jags. Okay? The ones that you were just taking a dump all over, and the Vikings barely beat them. They had to Tennessee to play the Titans. Titans are getting 6 points. I hate to say it, but Mason Rudolph has looked okay. He's been all right. So I don't know who's starting. They've been jumping back and forth between who's starting for them, and they benched.
Rudolph, Levis is terrible.
I know. I have no idea why. I mean, I do understand you got to give young guys time, but not him.
Right.
Our buddy Pat that we watch the games with is absolutely in love with Will Levis not being the quarterback for Tennessee. He's like, I'm not afraid of Will Levis. I'm like, I'm not afraid of the Titans. And I honestly don't think the Vikings should be afraid of them. I have them as a touchdown favorite, so I'll take the -6 for the Vikings.
This is interesting, and we can get more into this later on if you guys want, but just real quick. So we're running down 3 games here, and it's going to be Jags, Titans, and Raiders are in these 3 games that we're talking about. And it just made me think, who do you think's got the worst roster in the NFL? Because I don't think it's the Jags. So I think you can toss them out, even though they're 2-8. I don't think
Raiders
the worst. I don't think
Carolina.
I think the Titans and Raiders have a worse roster than the Jags do.
Carolina. Yeah.
Carolina, Giants, but I don't think they're the worst.
No, they got some guys on defense, and Neighbors at least makes you excited, you know.
Yeah, Giants have a worse roster
than the Jags. I don't know. I think I'd probably pick Tennessee. I think the Raiders are close, and I got to be totally honest. So I think the Raiders. Kenny G had said that the Giants have a worse roster than the Jags, and then said, "And I'm a Giants fan."
Outstanding.
I hate to say this for all them boys out there, but I think the Cowboys might have as bad of a roster as the Raiders do. It's just the Raiders traded away their one of their blue chip players, and the Cowboys blue chip players have been injured. But yeah, just an interesting note. Titans may be the worst roster in the NFL, and I think they've got a couple guys who are. I mean, every NFL team has a couple good players, but you can build in the middle with Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat. You know what I mean? Like, you can build a defense around those 2 guys,
right?
So I think they've got decent corners, and I mean, I see a path back to them being good. I don't know that I see a path back to the Raiders being good. Like, everybody's talking about Shador possibly getting drafted and going there, and that being like, oh, the Raiders have their quarterback and blah blah blah. And I don't see a path to that roster being any good at all.
Worthwhile. No.
Yeah. So let's get back to this game though. Titans +6 at home. David, who you got?
I can't go with the Titans here. I'm going to take the Vikings -6. Again, if you think this is just a 1 touchdown win, you're feeling pretty good about that. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a 2-touchdown win. This game does anybody versus the Titans, it's going to feel a bit lopsided unless you were talking about the Raiders, the Jags, the Giants, and that's about it.
Man.
Earls, what you got?
Well,
he's going to go with Titans.
No, I'm not going to go with the Titans. I'm going to go with the Vikings. But here's a little stat for you. So the Titans haven't scored over 20 points in 4 of their last 5 games. And the one that they did score 20 was a win against the Patriots. So give me the Vikings here. The Titans are just, Mason Rudolph at quarterback, his big play throw percentage is 1.97. Like that is total dink and dunk. I think you fall right into the Vikings trap of that aggressive blitzing style, and you're just trying to dunk your way down the field. I just don't think it's going to work today.
Yeah, and what's his name? The safety gonna eat that alive.
Yeah. Yep.
Hit stick. What's his name?
Harrison Smith.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Harrison Smith is gonna eat that kind of offense alive. So.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I'll go Vikings -6 here too. That's like I said, that Tennessee roster is not one that I believe in as much as the Jaguars roster, and that's not to say that I believe in either of them all that much, but
and real quick, the over is 39.5. So
yeah,
the safest bet is take the over in this game.
The over?
The over. Yes.
Get out.
Yes.
Get out.
That is the safest bet.
I'll bet against you. Take the under all day. Listen, Sam Darnold has been cheeks. Sam Darnold hasn't been good since the first month of the season. If we could put to bed the MVP bullshit that I had to listen to in October for Sam Darnold, that'd be great. Listen, I think it might go under the 40 points. It's 39.5 is what we got on BetMGM.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I'd stay away from that over. But hey, listen, if you want to bet the over in a Titans-Vikings game, 1-800-GAMBLER is the number. Anyway, Raiders and Dolphins. Listen, I hate this so much. There's a pulse. There's a pulse in South Florida. They pulled that game out on Monday Night Football. They're still alive, dog. They're still alive. Their next 2 games against like the Raiders and then I think maybe the Panthers or something like that. Like they can get to 5-6 and all of a sudden they're looking at a wild card. They are still alive down in South Beach. Raiders, I don't know. I feel like they folded their tents a long time ago, which has to be driving Antonio Pierce crazy. But that's what you get when you hire your interim coach. Don't do that. Yes, we get that there's an interim coach bump. That doesn't mean that he's like some amazing marvel. Listen, a lot of people were talking about Mike McDaniel getting fired. And all of a sudden you look at it and they have like a pretty clear path to get back to 500 and crawl into this AFC wild card race.
Right.
I think the guys inside that locker room know that. And if the guys inside the locker room know that, that's a lot of momentum to come out and just absolutely blap the Las Vegas Raiders coming into town today. David, who you got in this one?
So looking at the injury report, the Dolphins are actually healthy for the first time in a long time. They've got 5 that are questionable, and Kendall Fuller, their cornerbacks, out. When you look at the game status for the Raiders, you've got Harrison Bryant, their tight ends, out. You've got their center, Andre James, and their guard, Cody Whitehair, are out. And they had some other injuries. Max Crosby had an ankle thing coming into this week. So it's a bad roster, and they're a bit banged up. I see the Dolphins taking another win here, and I also hate it.
Yeah, I just wish they were dead, but they are going to live and breathe long enough to make the Bills finish winning the division, I think. Go ahead, Sterles.
Yeah. I'll take the Dolphins here minus the 7.5. The Dolphins are one of the few teams in the league that have the same record as their against the spread record at 3-6.
So they are what Vegas thinks they are.
Yeah.
Almost exactly, it seems. Yeah.
And Vegas thinks they're going to win comfortably today. And so do I. Yeah. So I'll take the Dolphins -7.5 as well. Is that 2 games that we've swept on here, boys? We got to get your
Yep.
Somebody grow a pair of nuts, would you? I can't be the only one that's going opposite you guys and killing you in the picks.
We're going to have some switch up here.
Now, don't forget the Ravens and the Steelers now.
Relax, dog. We've got 4 more 11 o'clock.
Just telling you, though. No?
Chill the F out. We normally save the best one for last anyway. Rams.
You gave me some like shitty games to talk about here, so we need Dave and I need a good one.
Talk about every NFL game. It's
you
like
bastard.
our thing.
You bastard.
That's the tagline for the show. We talk about every game every week. That's our show.
All right, Rams. West going east. 4-5 Rams headed to the 3-7 Patriots. Which, by the way, as we were running down the worst rosters in the NFL, didn't even think to mention the Patriots, and that's a compliment to them and Gerard Mayo. I don't think they're flush with talent per se, but I mean, that's a scary team. It's a hardworking team, and they've slapped around a couple mediocre teams, meaning, maybe their roster is a little bit better than we give them credit for. On the other hand, these Rams, they were getting healthy. They were on a hot streak. You looked like you're going to get back into this world where not only could they be a wild card contender, but hey, look, the NFC West, I mean, no one's running away. And you thought maybe they could crawl back into a division lead spot. Instead, they drop a game on Monday night to the Dolphins that I think they really needed to win. And I think, personally, that makes this one almost a must-win for them. Patriots, another home dog. A lot of home dogs in the NFL today. Patriots +4 points at home. Sterls, who you got here?
Oh man, this is tough. This is tough because I think the Patriots could win this game. To be honest, they hang in every game. They remind me so much of what the Titans used to be, But for betting purposes only, give me Matthew Stafford and the Rams -4 today.
Rams -4. David, who you got?
I don't disagree. The Patriots have a bunch of people who are questionable, including 4 who didn't practice on Friday. Usually not a good look there. The Rams are getting a little bit heavier or healthier, but Rob Haverstein, their offensive lineman, and Joe Noteboom are both likely out for this game. That offensive line isn't great to start with, but I think they're going to show up. Sterls, I don't disagree with you. I think the Patriots actually could win this game. I don't think they will. I'm going to go with the Rams.
Yeah, none of us have the nuts to actually pull the trigger on the home dog here.
Yeah,
but no. I might build so I just for fun, and I don't normally talk about it on the stream because we run out of time. But for fun, I'll throw a 3-dog parlay together a lot of the times where I pick 3 underdogs money line, and Patriots might be one that I pick today because I do think they have a chance to win. I just think the Rams need this so bad, and I think you got a veteran QB who is he's never going to let him slip out of contention. You know what I mean? And they're going to win this game and be 5-5, and we're going to be like, okay, can they get there? Like, that's what veteran QBs do for you. So I'll take the Rams -4 here as well. Jameis, let's talk about the Jameis Winston revenge game, which is weird because he never even really played for the Saints. Browns headed to NOLA to play the Saints. Browns favored by 1.5. I'd love to see the last time the Browns were favored. Like, was Baker Mayfield there the last time they were favored in a game?
Sheesh.
Browns -1.5 at the Saints today. The real question is, did the interim head coach for the Saints take a dump and clog the toilet in the Superdome? If he did, then Saints are a lock here. So did you guys not see that story?
No.
Oh my God.
No.
He comes out post game after they win. He's like, I promised myself I would only tell the story if we won. He's like, I got there in the morning. I'm in the head coach's locker room. Head coach's locker room has its own bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
I went in. I took a shit and I clogged the toilet. And I was just like, it's going to be one of those days today. It's going to be one of those days.
At least he's honest, you know?
That's why everybody was like, oh, refreshing. You know what I mean? He's like, I had to call somebody to plunge it because there's no, you know how those industrial toilets work. Anyway, so the real question is, did Joe take a big shit in the head coach's locker room this morning? We haven't heard any reports on that. But Carr's back in. Jameis Winston. Who you got, David?
I have a hard time betting on the Browns, especially this season, but generally. And after what I've seen, I think the Saints should get away with this. I think the Saints will actually win it. And the fact that the Browns are favored in a game makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit. So I'm going to go with the Saints here.
Interesting. Sterles?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints here. Derek Carr just scares the shit out of me, to be honest. But, you know, I don't know. Maybe they got a little bit of momentum on their side.
We got to dissect that statement a little bit.
Why does he scare you?
Yeah, scares you like he's going to be awful, or scares you like he's going to be good?
or you don't know what he's going to be, and that's terrifying.
Exactly. I don't know what he's going to be. Because some weeks, you know, there's times where he can play really good football, and then, you know, he just gets in this, like, just, I can't even explain it, but he's just awful, you know?
Those
and
first 3 weeks.
Yeah, you just don't know what to expect. So Saints at home, you know, plus 1.5. I'll take. I hate it, but I'll take the Saints.
Thrilled to be the only one on this one going with the Browns. Happy to go with the Browns. That defense is very good. We've said it since the beginning of the year. They ruined their season by starting Deshaun Watson for as long as they did. Not to say that Jameis would have been any better, but you know, Deshaun Watson was trash, and I think the whole team felt that way.
Let me ask you a question here. So the Saints plus 1.5 is minus 108, and then if you take the money line, it's plus 105. What would you? I mean, I just don't have much confidence in the Browns either. But like, what would you do in that situation?
This is one of the games that I feel like that point could matter, because you absolutely could have a team kick 2 field goals and have the other team score a touchdown. So it's absolutely a game where you could get on that 1-point track where 21-20. Most of the time in that situation, I just go money line and I eschew the point and just take the plus money. But this is one of those games that I would be like, that point might actually matter.
Yeah.
So, but I'll take the Browns. I'll lay the 1.5. I think there's going to be something to be said for Jameis going back to the Superdome. It's going to bring a lot of energy there, and I think that Browns defense is good. So, listen, the Saints should have lost last week. Young Wei Koo missed 3 freaking field goals. Like, don't act like here come the Saints. You know what I mean? So
a win is a win,
especially in the NFL. But
yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They got their win last week. Colts and Jets. This feels like a little bit of an elimination game to me. It got flexed out of Sunday night. Everybody's like, I don't really care about this game, and that's fine. You don't have to. I'm sick. I like the NFL way more than I should. This feels like a little bit of an elimination game to me. I don't think the Jets are going to, but they could theoretically run the table, get to 10 wins, and make it into the playoffs, right? The Colts, same thing. That 7 seed in the AFC, I think, is going to be around 500. I think you might have a 9-8 team that gets there. So I feel like, this one is, we put this loser finally to bed. And the question is, which loser is it? Is it the Colts or is it the Jets? Who you got, Sterles?
Oh, Anthony Richardson's starting today, so give me the Jets -4.
I know he's starting today. Do you really feel like it makes that big of a difference?
Yeah, I mean, dude ain't played in a few weeks. And,
that's what you do to young quarterbacks, is you shake them like that.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, me personally, I just don't think Anthony Richardson is that guy who attention to detail. I watching his tape, I just don't see it. So You mean to tell me that he's going to start doing it now? I just think he is what he is, and I'll take the Jets any day against this Anthony Richardson led Colts -4.5, unless Taylor just runs all over him. But I don't think that's going to happen today.
David?
So I don't think the Jets defensive line is as good as it has been in the last probably 2 or 3 years. I do think Jonathan Taylor, unlike last week where you would have thought he could have really gone big, I don't think they adjusted their game plan very well. So while I hate Anthony Richardson at quarterback, I think he's going to get them a couple first downs with his legs, keep the ball moving down the field. I'm going to take the Colts in this one, and we're going to say good night to the Jets.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how they react to that if that's the case. 8 losses, 11 games into the season for the Jets. Does Aaron Rodgers just say, "Yeah, well, it's been fun, guys, but I'm out of here." It'll be interesting. For me, I don't think the Jets are 4 points better than anybody. So give me that field goal. I get that little 3-point switch where even if the 3 points are the other direction, I still break even.
Doesn't matter.
So,
Yep.
So I'll take the Colts and the 4 points. I think this spread should be more like 2.5. I think you're getting a New York City bump here from Vegas, where a bunch of people are betting on the Jets and it's driving that number down. But
watch the Colts win. Watch the Colts win this game.
I mean, I wouldn't. Would it surprise you?
I'm going to.
Okay. Would it?
I mean, no. The Jets they're a tire fire waiting to happen.
I mean, I think they're both tire fires, to be honest, which is too bad because I thought Shane Steichen, decent coach.
Yeah.
But I just don't think Anthony Richardson has it. And, Joe Flacco has had spurts of pixie dust sprinkled on him, but, he was never going to be an answer for them. So I'll take the Colts here plus the 4. All right. Last 11 o'clock game of the day. Sturls finally gets his wish.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Listen, to start the season, I don't think anybody would have picked this to be one of the good ones. No. And yet here we are, 10 games into the season for most teams, and the Ravens and Steelers are playing for a top 4 seed and a home playoff game, it feels like, in the AFC North. One of the things that's most incredible about this, and we had talked about this on the show a couple weeks ago. I said the Bengals were the team that hadn't played a game in the AFC North yet, and I was just confusing that stat with the Steelers. The Steelers are the team that has not played an NFC. Why do I keep saying NFC? NFC. The Steelers are a team that has not played an AFC North game yet. So they're 7-2, but you still got to go through one of the real black and blue divisions in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's going to be real interesting to see how they stack up. Listen, they're built for it. Don't get me wrong. Their defense is legit. And I think their defense is the best one in that division. But we have seen as Bills fans and, Broncos fans know, and a whole bunch of other teams fans know, those Ravens, they will run the ball right at you and pound you into submission. So, Sterls, this was the game you wanted to talk about. Talk about it. 7-3 versus 7-2. Pittsburgh catching 3 points at home versus the Ravens.
So here's a couple things. So the Steelers is the other team that has the same record against the spread at 7-2. You got the Ravens currently. They're in positive in EPA per run and pass. That's really sign of a healthy offense. Right now you have 68% of the bets on the spread going with the Steelers, and that's +3. And then, obviously the Ravens with the money line. So with that being said, give me the Steelers +3 on this game.
Still going Steelers +3, taking the home dog. Who you got, David?
So you talked about when we were talking Jets and Colts, this is an elimination game. For the AFC, this has huge playoff consequences because if the Bills lost to the Chiefs and somehow the Steelers beat the Ravens, the Steelers are the number 2 seed in the AFC. Now, if you told me that at the beginning of the season, I would have laughed in your fucking face.
Yeah, no doubt.
Alex Highsmith is out.
We didn't even know who their quarterback was, and it turns out they have 2 that can win games. How about that? Hello, Mike Tomlin.
Exactly. And that's Mike Tomlin needs to get flowers on flowers because making it work with these teams has not always been pretty. And you go, there's no way, and then still winning. But I agree, this defense is amazing. Alex Highsmith is out with that low ankle injury. So you hate to see him out because this could be a big game for him and Watt. I'm going to go with the Steelers +3 home dog.
Okay, I'll be the guy then, and I'm happy to. I think this Ravens team is really well battle tested. I think this Ravens team is what I was talking about with the Lions earlier, where they know they're a good team and they know that they can play with anybody, and sometimes they lose focus. But the teams that they lose focus against are the Raiders, who they lose to in week 2, right? The teams that they lose focus against are not the good teams. They're the bad teams. And I think the Ravens are going to come in today with something to prove. I think they want that top spot in the division. I think they hate the Steelers. And I think we're absolutely going to see a black and blue fest. You got the best offense in the NFL. And as good as that defense for the Steelers is, what I don't think any defense in the NFL is equipped to handle is the size of that Ravens running game. They can put 3 tight ends out there. They can put Patrick Ricard in there, and they can throw literally 1,000 pounds of beef right at you. And it's just almost impossible to stop. So how do you neutralize a great pass rusher? It's a cliche, but we all know it. What is it, Sterling? You run right
straight through him.
You run right at him. So if one of their good pass rushers is out, and I don't think Highsmith is great, but he's good. If one of their good pass rushers is out, that line is unbalanced. And what do? You run the ball right at TJ Watt, just straight down his freaking throat, and you let Patrick Ricard hit him 15 times today. And I think it's going to wear him out. I think it's going to make him tired. So I'll take the Ravens. I'll lay the 3 points. I think they assert themselves here as the best team in the division, even though their defense isn't as good as the Steelers. When you're comparing the units, the Ravens offense is better than the Steelers defense, and the Ravens defense is better than the Steelers offense. So I just kind of feel like they're going to assert themselves here and make a point.
I don't disagree with you. I think this is a good game for the Ravens. I liked the odds for the Steelers home dogs. I will say this game, I thought Thursday night was a good game. I think this game and then the Bills-Chiefs, this is a really good week of football. And when you're at week 11, you're more than halfway through the season. You know who these teams are. This isn't necessarily a week where things are going to be fluky and weird. This is going to be, especially this game, Ravens-Steelers, that's 2 teams that hate each other in a division up for, kind of those top, 2, 3, or 4 seed in the AFC. Big implications for this game. I'm excited to watch that and then jump straight into the Bills game.
Yeah, when you lay out your viewing path for today, listen, red zone's always a great option. But if you go Ravens, Steelers, Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, Chargers, that's a pretty good NFL.
It's a good day. It's a good day.
I mean? So, all right. This is normally where we do the commercial question. I will eschew actually throwing a commercial on there. I'll throw a question out to you though. Everybody always calls me a Scrooge for this, but it's not that I'm a Scrooge. It's that I love Thanksgiving. I do. I think it's a great fucking holiday. I think
The best.
I think
The
it's
best.
a great holiday because there's no expectations with it. Like it doesn't have that oh, I've got to buy presents or I have to fly home or no, man, it's hang out with whoever you want, eat good food and watch football. And the other thing that I like about it is the entire world actually has off. Entire world. All of America. Like McDonald's actually closes. Walmart actually close, right? Like Thanksgiving, McDonald's actually closed. Walmart, that's cool. I dig that. I think that's awesome. So when I say, please don't put up your Christmas decorations yet, I mean, please don't put up your Christmas decorations yet. So I don't know where you two fellas fall on it, but our quick commercial question is, how are you feeling about people already in the Christmas holiday spirit?
Oh, yes.
This is, you two had, it was probably this week last year where I was just listening to the pod and commenting, and you said something about how early it's too early to put up decorations. And I said, anything before Thanksgiving is wrong because we're skipping the real holiday. Food, family, and football, kind of like, that's the real holy trinity. And I got lucky.
Presents. I don't have to, buy flights home. I don't have to travel. Like just everybody take the day off and enjoy some food, family, and football. Like,
I got to do Thanksgiving. My family was out last week. They came to the Bills Backers Bar. We got to watch at Stoney's Uptown. And they got to meet everybody and see what we were doing here in Denver. And we got to do Thanksgiving dinner Friday night. It doesn't have to be on the day of Thanksgiving. I plan on doing the same thing again on Thanksgiving, but good food, friends and family. If you can throw some football in there, everybody's winning. So yeah, too early to Christmas stuff.
That's us both off. Go ahead.
I don't think it's too early, man. I like it. Roll the Christmas in. It's festive, man. Come on now.
This is why people get so depressed during January.
Why?
I'm dead serious. Because you can't go 3 months looking forward to something and then have it show up and then not be bummed that it's gone.
I mean, unless you're the Grinch.
Like you gotta be where your feet are. You gotta be where your feet are, man. Got over a month until that. There's a ton of other stuff happening between now and then. There's gonna be 6 football games between now and then for whatever team that you root for. You got Thanksgiving, which is a terrific holiday. Like, how do you? And here's the thing, and I don't know if I mentioned this on this podcast, but I mentioned it somewhere. So I fly back to Buffalo last year. I'm with my grandmother and my sister and everybody. And we're about to start. They need to finish making the Christmas cookies. I'm like, awesome. Let's throw on some Christmas music and finish making the Christmas cookies all together. And that'll be hell yeah, right? Like a little festive. They're like, oh, I'm kind of sick of Christmas music. Can we listen to something else? It's 2 days before Christmas. Like, what do we do? Look what you did to yourself. Look what you did to yourself.
I don't need that. I don't need Christmas music ever.
No, I agree with that.
14 songs done by 38 different artists and Mariah Carey 300 times a day. Nah.
But I'm just saying, if I'm going to listen to Christmas music, that's when I want to do it. I want it to be 2 days before Christmas. If you didn't have to hear those songs a million times, David, I don't think they would drive you as crazy. Right?
I don't want to hear them at all.
I'm just saying, it felt festive, and it was just blow my brains out. You guys don't even like Christmas. Holy. All right. Rant over. All right, let's get into these afternoon games. Falcons, Broncos, in what I think is the most pivotal game for the Broncos season right here this week at home in Denver. If you look at the rest of the Broncos schedule, they play a lot of teams that are in that middle of the AFC who will be hunting that 7th seed. They've got a game versus the Bengals. They got a game versus the Colts. They got a game. Well, the Raiders aren't really in it anymore, but you know what I mean? They've got all these teams who are going to be looking for the 7th seed that they're going to play. And they've got an average Falcons team coming in here off a loss that if they can beat, and go to 6-5, they're, I mean, they got the inside track on that 7th playoff spot. So I think this is the most important game for the Broncos season. And it's weird because it's an NFC game, but their last 2 weeks were Ravens and Chiefs. And everybody kind of knew that they were going to lose that. And you looked at it and you said, well, as long as they get the Falcons, they're going to be okay. It's a big game to me. It's a big game for the Broncos. David, let's start with you. Who you got here?
So, one, you're coming up to altitude, so I like that for the Broncos no matter what. The injury report looks pretty good. Josh Reynolds, the receiver's out. Drew Sanders with that Achilles is out. And Turner Yell, the safety, is out. But when you go over to Atlanta, their defense looks rough. Their cornerback, Mike Hughes, out. Linebacker, J.D. Bertrand, out. Troy Anderson, the linebacker, out. D. Alford, the cornerback, out. Cornerback Antonio Hamilton, out. Defensive end James Smith-Williams, out. Daquan Graham, D tackle, out. Grady Jarrett has an Achilles thing, but he's playing. So most of their defense is beat up. So you're talking about a Broncos team that's finally putting it together at home, at altitude against a beat-up team. I'm taking the Broncos.
Taking the Broncos -2. Sterls, who you got?
So the betting community says take the Falcons +1.5. There's 75% of the bets are on the Falcons there. 61% of the bets are on the Broncos. So I'm going to go against the grain here, and I'm just going to do a homer bet just because they're the home team here. Give me the Broncos -1.5 today.
That's interesting because it's going to be a clean sweep. I'm going to take the Broncos too. I think the Broncos offensive line has played really well, and I think the Falcons cannot generate pressure to save their lives.
Even when they're healthy.
Yeah, right. Which, do I think Bo Nix is a world beater? No. But do I think if you give Bo Nix all day back there, he's going to find somebody open? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And so I don't think their offense overmatches that good Bronco defense, and I don't think the Falcons can generate pressure. Give me the Broncos -2.5. Okay, Seahawks and 49ers in what we have previously talked about, a wide open NFC West. I think the Niners and the Cardinals are currently tied on top of the standings at 5-4 each. Seahawks getting 6 points going to San Francisco. Niners have been beat up for forever. Christian McCaffrey finally came back, looked pretty good. But, I mean, Ayuk out for the year. There's more. I can't think of it right now. But they still have been beat up. The Seahawks, did you guys see the center? I didn't see the full article. Did you see the news from their center?
No.
In the middle of the season, their center has retired.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Connor
he retired,
Williams retired. Yeah, I did see that.
I mean, that's kind of crazy. You assume it's health related, but I didn't go and read the articles or anything like that.
He's been dealing with health issues this whole career.
Yeah.
Even at Texas, he had health stuff. So
I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know anything about him. And normally, when you see a retirement like that, that's what it is. But in the middle of the season's tough for a 4-5 team who's still in it. So Seahawks getting 6 points, going to San Francisco. Who you got, Sterls?
I'm gonna take the 49ers here at -6. I think at some point San Francisco is going to get back to being the 49ers. Their offense is going to be explosive. Now, again, they don't have Ayuk, but, and their tight end is not going to be playing today. But I do think this is going to be a game that's controlled by Christian McCaffrey and that run game. So give me Brock Purdy and the boys.
Who looked good, like who looked real good the last couple weeks for, I think, the first time this year. And I want to say that because I have given him a hard time this year about,
looking average.
Yeah. And like, he's not an MVP as soon as you take all those guys out from around him. And I do think that's still true. I don't think he's MVP caliber, but flowers where they're due. He's looked real good the last few weeks. David, who you got?
So I looked at this game earlier in the week and I was like, oh, Niners all the way. I think the Seahawks are getting healthier. And when you look at the Niners injury report, Nick Bosa, questionable. Their defensive tackle, Kevin Givens, out with a groin injury. Kittle, Charvarius Ward, out. Trent Williams, questionable. Mitch Wishnowsky, their punter, out.
All right, don't
John Feliciano, questionable.
Don't punter injury reports, please, God.
Eder Gross Matos, the DN, questionable.
Yeah.
Darius Luter Jr., the cornerback, doubtful. Aaron Banks, the guard, questionable. That's a lot of injuries. I'm actually going to go with the Seahawks here.
Yeah, oh, wow.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Seahawks, too. The reason I think is I just don't think that this is a 6-point game. I think the spread's too big here. Yeah. I like the Niners to win this game, but I think it's going to be two teams running the ball. And when you look at the skill position players, when you take into account the injuries, Seahawks might actually have the better skill position players and might have the better quarterback. And that's not something that we normally say about the 49ers, but because they're so beat up,
DK Metcalf being back changes that math for me. Again, I agree, Rob. I don't know if this is a game the Seahawks win, but I'm not saying they couldn't. I just think 6 points was too much for my appetite.
Yeah, a division game, which makes total sense. Yeah. Total sense. Yeah, I get it, but I'm still going with the Niners here.
What's that?
I said I'm still going with the Niners here.
Well, you would. All right. The big one.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. You guys ready for this? Chapter 8, as CBS has dubbed it. The Bills and Chiefs have played 8 times. And I just want you to know that 6 of those have been in Arrowhead. Now, the Chiefs have earned a bunch of them being there by way of having a better record in the regular season, and the Bills have to go there in the playoffs, and that's fine. But a whole bunch of regular season games have been in Kansas City as well. The worm finally turns here. Not only will they play this year in Orchard Park, but if both teams, I believe it's if both teams finish in first in their division, which they should, these teams will play in Buffalo in the regular season again next year. So the worm's kind of turning here a little bit. Here's the problem. The Bills haven't had any issue beating the Chiefs in the regular season. That has not been the problem. The problem is Patrick Mahomes, the witch and the wizard, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have been getting you in the playoffs. That's the issue. Here's the most interesting thing about this game to me personally. It sets up the rest of the AFC for the rest of the year.
Correct.
If the Chiefs win this game, they have 2 more difficult games left against Houston and the Steelers. Ain't nobody going to catch them for the 1 seed if they beat the Bills today. Okay? On the flip side of that, if the Bills win today, that AFC race compresses. And all of a sudden, a 2-loss Steeler team, a 3-loss Ravens team, all feel like they have a shot at getting that 1 seed, and the race is freaking on. The Chiefs and the Bills could, if the Chiefs win this game with the lead that the Bills have in their division, the Chiefs and the Bills could rest the rest of the season and walk to division championships in the 1 seed, and the AFC race would be over. So this game is going to swing the rest of the NFL. Chiefs headed to Buffalo. God, first time they've been an underdog in how long? Chiefs,
forever.
I know, right? Chiefs plus 2 points. Who wants to start here? I'll let you guys tell me who wants to go first.
I will.
Sterl's at 2.
I'm just gonna give you stats like I've been giving you all day. Okay, so right now the spread plus 2.5 with the Chiefs. The 86% of the bets have gone to the spread with the Chiefs. The Bills are at 51% on the money line, and the over is at 75% of bets. So, the money says go with the Chiefs here. It's hard to bet this game just because of our fandom. But, I think the Bills are the better team on paper. So give me the Bills minus 2.5. I do think this will be a game where I like to see a big game from Josh Allen here. I know the Chiefs defense is good, but I just think that, getting James Cook involved in the pass game, I think is going to pay the difference here.
I want to evaluate one of your statements. Bills the better team on paper. It was interesting coming into the season. I don't think any of us would have said that.
Yeah.
And are we talking about who's playing or total team? Because we've got some injuries.
Who's playing? Who's playing? I think the Bills have the better team on paper right now.
It's interesting because I do think they have the better offensive line. I don't know if they have the better offensive line without Spencer Brown. The interior three for the Kansas City
is the best in the league.
Real good.
But hey now. But the Bills' offensive line has been pretty good, though.
That's what I'm saying. I think the Bills have the better offensive line if healthy. But when you take Spencer Brown out of that mix, I think that gap narrows.
I like Ryan Vandermark, man. I think what we've seen him has been really good, man. So I think you guys are sleeping on Ryan Vandermark here. That's not Homer, That's
he held himself pretty well in the third and fourth quarter last week. But he wasn't going against the Chiefs' defensive ends or defensive tackles.
I mean, listen, Karlaftis is good.
He's okay.
But I don't think he's a world beater.
Right.
And
Chris Jones, run a stunt with Chris Jones?
I know, but they're not – they kick him outside sometimes. But if they do –
they're not doing that today.
If they do, Osiris Torrance is going to go help him. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way you're putting Vandermark one-on-one with Chris Jones.
And here's the deal with that. You can't put Chris Jones on the outside in this game because Josh Allen's going to see that unless, that spy is going to have to really be honed in on his assignment. I just don't think you want to do that today.
Well, and here's the thing. What the Chiefs have the most trouble with, in my mind, is covering out of the backfield / tight ends, right?
Yep.
You want to attack that middle of the field. You'd love to have Dalton Kincaid for this game. You don't. But James Cook, Dawson Knox, if they're going to spy Josh Allen, so what you just laid out happens, Sterls, where they kick Chris Jones outside. Josh Allen says to himself, okay, I'm going to look at running the ball. They counter that with spying Josh with a linebacker, and all of a sudden the middle of that field's wide open. Right? Yeah. It's James Cook checkdowns. It's Dawson Knox, Quentin Morris, Zach Davidson, whoever. He will eat them alive. Khalil Shakir, he'll eat them alive if he takes profits there. And so there's an easy way to lay out that, like, you can make the Chiefs defense wrong no matter what you do if you play good ball.
Yeah.
And Josh can do that today.
Yep.
David, who you got?
Here's where I have concerns. Who's kicking for the Kansas City Chiefs?
The Jets practice squad kicker.
Not Harrison Butker.
Yeah.
Now, if you told me, hey, Butker's basically going to be automatic from 55 and in, so if they cross midfield, they get one pass and they have to kick it, they're going to get 3 points. Today, if it's 4th and 4, you kicking that or are you going for it? Well, probably not punting.
I was going to say, you've got the witch and the wizard, so you go for it.
Right. So all of a sudden, now you've got Patrick Mahomes on the field, potentially 4, maybe 5 extra plays this game.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that so much.
Yeah.
I would rather them kick the fucking field goal and it's Tyler Bass and Harrison Butker and you just hope you get a turnover that means you get to kick last.
Yeah, it is the field goal of death situation where when you
100%.
give teams desperation, when you give them 4th downs, they're actually more successful. You have a better chance of losing the game. And that's the scenario that you're talking about. You've gifted Andy Reid an excuse to leave Patrick Mahomes out there for another
on the field.
Now. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So
who you got?
I have Chiefs +2, Bills money line.
You can't do that. That's the most homer pick I've ever heard.
I think it's going to be a 1-point game.
Just say the Chiefs are going to win the game.
No. I think the Chiefs are going to keep it close, but the Bills are going to win. So I'm taking the Chiefs +2 on the spread, and then I'm going to take the Bills money line.
What an eye roll. Unbelievable.
That's fine.
Man.
I think it's going to be a 1-point game. I think it's coming down to
right.
the field goal of death or the touchdown in the last second to get it.
All right, so I tell everybody I don't bet on this game. We all fully admit that we are Buffalo Bills fans, seeing this through rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
I don't bet on the Bills for that reason. I try to keep it objective. But you both know that I am the kind of guy who I don't just walk around and be like, "Oh, the Bills are going to kill everybody," blah blah blah, right? Like I don't just say that. I think one time this year, Sterls on our Bills podcast called the Bills as big favorites to win. Like I thought they were going to cream somebody. That was the Dolphins week 2. I thought the Bills were going to cream them. I think the Bills are going to cream them.
Yeah.
I think the Bills are going to win by 2 scores.
Oh.
I think it's going to be one of those games where the Chiefs just kind of say like, "Oh, it doesn't matter, blah, 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 blah." Now, I've hated what the Mafia has done up to this point because they have been trolling, dog. The Mafia has been trolling Kansas City and their fans, but Josh Allen will never admit this. Maybe we hear something about this 20 years from now, okay? But Josh Allen will never admit this. But he knows that this game, last year, when we were talking about Lamar Jackson for MVP, they had that game versus the Niners late in the season. Both teams had like 10, 11, 12 wins, something like that. And we said, if Lamar Jackson wants to win this MVP, he's got to come out and have a dog of a game here. And he came out and he blasted the 49ers. Remember that? Don't think he didn't know what he was doing when he did that.
100%.
If Josh Allen wants to win his first MVP, he needs to go out this afternoon and blast the Kansas City Chiefs. And he'll never admit it. But I absolutely think that's a motivating factor for him. And I absolutely think that he knows that. That if I go out and absolutely go belt to ass on these Kansas City Chiefs, even if my defense gives up a whole bunch of points, right? If it's a 13 seconds and he goes, I don't even think he's got to win it. I think it'd help if he wins it. But if he goes and scores 43 and it's 43-40, Josh Allen is winning the MVP this year.
Rob, I hate you for this because I didn't want to think about that. I did not want to fucking think about that.
And
but it's so true. And to your point,
left in the season, you know what I mean?
To your point, don't you think that same Josh Allen trotted himself out against the Ravens, wanted to go belt to ass, but he just didn't have the weapons and he didn't get patient? I think he did. I think the pressure was on him.
I think he felt right. I think that's different kind of pressure, though.
Yeah.
I do think he felt pressure, but I think he felt pressure like I have to carry this team to this win. I don't think he's going to think that today. I think he just knows if he plays a good game that it's there for him.
Yeah.
But he's got to go out there and just be Josh Allen. And so
I agree.
I listen. Again, nobody ever talks about that. The guys in the locker room know it too. The guys in the locker room know that too, and they love him and they want to get him that MVP as bad as Josh wants it himself. And it's not what anybody actually wants, right? What they want is a Super Bowl title. They want to hang a fucking banner. But on the way there, they absolutely want to get their dog an MVP. And I think they feel like he's been scorned a couple of years and hasn't been able to get it. And I think they want to do everything they can to get it for him. I think the Bills come out and absolutely smoke the Kansas City Chiefs today.
Yeah. I can't say that with the big boy chest. I cannot.
Rob, I'm rigid right now. You did that.
Right?
I don't know why. I feel like it. I believe it. And like I said, this is a betting show. I would tell you from a betting perspective that I am rose-colored glasses going over the top a little bit here. But those Mafia members, I mean, that stadium is going to be tuned up tonight. And if he comes out and say they score 2 quick touchdowns, even if Kansas City answers, that
MVP.
Oh, I mean, that place is going to go effing crazy.
Stop it, Dave. You're feeding into this madness.
I'm getting hyped.
that place is going to. And here's the other thing that we talked about, and I'll get off of it after this. But one of the things I've talked about with Josh Allen that I will freely admit is a flaw of his is when he gets into big moments for the first time, he gets too sugar. Right? First time he played the Patriots, he threw 4 interceptions.
Yep.
His first playoff game, he's lateraling the ball 20 yards downfield. Like, what are you doing? Right?
Right.
His first game against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game was not good. Right? And then what did he do the next year? 13 seconds game, right? He comes back and absolutely dominates. So after he gets comfortable in situations, he turns into Josh Allen. He absolutely dominates the guy.
And he plays well against the Chiefs. And it's funny because everybody says, oh, it's Mahomes versus Allen. Well, guess what? Didn't give up the touchdown or the field goal or the whatever. It hasn't been his issue.
That's what I was going to say is he is no longer nervous playing the Chiefs. Like it's no longer like, oh, sugar high Josh Allen. And that's why he's beaten them the last 3 regular seasons.
Yeah.
And he should have beat them in the last 2 playoff games if he wasn't let down by his team. So I just think he comes out and goes belt to ass today. I think the Bills team is going to walk.
I love it when you talk dirty. I love it when you talk dirty.
All right, Sunday Night Football.
God,
this one got flexed in, and as far as records go, it's not an overwhelmingly good matchup, but also, I mean,
it's a good game.
It's a pretty good matchup. Bengals at Chargers. It's interesting because Chargers normally in SoFi for LA home crowd don't really attract a ton of Chargers fans, but I don't think the Bengals are going to travel well particularly either. It's going to be like a weird neutral site college game is I think what it's going to feel like. Bengals plus 1.5. Sterls has still had his breath taken away from me saying the Bills are going to go belt to ass on the Chiefs. So why don't we start with you, David, so Sterls can gather himself here.
I'm gonna piss Sterling off right now. I'm taking the Bengals here. Rob, I know you and I both agree this is a team we don't want to face in the playoffs. This is a team that is right on the outside. They're in the hunt, and Jamar Chase is starting to look like Jamar Chase from 2 years ago. Burrow's starting to get a little more accurate. This defense has some real talent on it. Again, it does feel a bit like a neutral site game. I like the Chargers. I like what they've been doing on Sterls. I know that's your team. I know you appreciate them. But I'm going with the Bengals here. That's a team that the Chargers, if we played them, I'd be like, okay, this is going to be a good game. I'd worry about the Bengals. I think I'm more worried about the Bengals than I am about the Chargers. So I'm going to go with the Bengals here. I'm going to take the plus 1.5.
Man, that's really interesting. I don't blame you for that. I mean, with the Chargers, they got to prove it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they've proved it yet, but I think they're going to prove it today. Give me the freaking Chargers minus the 1.5. Here's the thing about Harbaugh teams. They're going to be sound on defense and they're going to be able to run the ball. Okay. And I think that's going to be evident today. I think the Bengals have a problem stopping the run. And I feel like Justin Herbert, this is a measuring stick game for him. I think he needs to come out here and prove that he is who everyone thinks he is and get this dub for them. So give me the Chargers here.
It's interesting. 2 young quarterbacks, and you feel like one is very clutch and the other is very not.
Yeah.
When in actuality, I think one has been let down by his team and the other one has not. We call Joe Burrow so clutch. How did they beat Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl in that AFC Championship game?
Defense.
It was their defense and their kicker. You know what I mean? And that's not a shot at Joe Burrow. Right. It's just it's people always bang the table. Wins are not a quarterback stat. It's you got to have the team there to support you and complement you as well. We just talked about it with Josh Allen not being the reason that the Bills have lost to the Chiefs. So I feel like on the flip side of that, Herbert has been let down by his team and sometimes by his coaching as much as anybody.
Right.
And one thing that I know for sure tonight and for the rest of the season, he's not going to be let down by his coaching. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to be betrayed by having to go for it on 4th and 3 at his own 13 or something like that. You know what I mean? So I just feel like that breeds confidence in Herbert himself. If I'm looking at the matchup, I think the Chargers have the better defense here, which is not something that, we've always talked about how much talent that Charger defense had. I think no one's really talking about the fall off in this Bengals defense enough. They still have some good players, don't get me wrong. I just think the Chargers are better. And
yeah,
as far as weapons go, there's no doubt that the Bengals have the better weapons. But does the Chargers defense mitigate that a little bit with their extra
right?
talent? So I'm going to take the Chargers here as well. I'll lay a point and a half.
Right.
A 7-3 Charger team, I think, is just unreasonable.
Hold on.
I don't think they're actually a 7-3 team.
Yeah,
but you might get some Raiders with them being 7-3. Oh, I know. Look at their wins. Go ahead.
The Raiders in week 1.
Yeah.
Meh. They beat the Panthers. Ooh. Yeah. They lost to the Steelers by 10. They lost to the Chiefs by 7. They beat an early Broncos team by 7. They lost to the Cardinals by 2. They beat a Saints team that had injuries left and right and no starting quarterback. The Browns win looked pretty good. I'm not going to say the Browns offense did anything to help them in that game. They beat the Titans.
Yeah.
And I'd say the same thing about the Bills. If you look at the teams the Bills have beaten right now.
Yeah. And
not great.
What teams do? They beat
teams
the
are supposed
to beat.
Yeah. I mean,
teams are supposed to beat.
I understand like where you guys are coming from on that. I get it too. I just think that the formula to win this game, I think it's more safe with the Chargers. I think, the Bengals is high variance, high reward. I mean, with those weapons and stuff like that, in a game like this, I just feel like the team that can control the game on the ground and play good defense is typically they're going to win the game. And I just think that's the Chargers, despite them not ever really measuring up to the expectations. So we'll see. It could be a homer take. I mean, I will tell you that I am a Jim Harbaugh, Jesse Minter, all them boys over there. So
Connor Stallions on that staff. All right, Texans at Cowboys. Your Monday Night Football game. He's not. He's the head coach of a high school football team that I think is over. So just so you know. The Battle of Texas, Texans and Cowboys. Cowboys getting 7 points at home. Why do we have to watch this game in prime time?
Who's playing quarterback? Cooper Rush or Trey Lance?
Who cares?
Nobody cares.
Who cares? And listen, the Texans have been spiraling out of control.
Yeah.
A loss to the Jets, a loss to the Lions that never should have been a loss. Like that Jets game was weird. It was Thursday Night Football. I can forgive that. That Lions loss, you don't score a point in the second half. You're up, 24-7?
Yeah.
Get the F out.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be kidding me. That's embarrassing. And maybe it was a team who was, reading their tweets too much here. Because everybody was saying, oh, they've got the South locked up, blah, blah, blah. You better look out. You lose this game and the Colts win, and you got a 1-game lead on the Indianapolis Colts for the AFC South title. Hello. Right?
Yeah, right.
I get it. The Texans are a much better team than the Indianapolis Colts. But look at the situation you put yourself in as a Texan.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So Texans heading to Dallas in what I think is a game they really need to win. You cannot have a 3-game losing streak here. David, who you got?
Cowboys have nothing to play for at this point. Starting quarterback's injured. They've got some injuries on the offense and defense. This team's been dog shit.
I'm going to challenge you on that. You know who's playing for the Cowboys? A bunch of guys who are trying to stay in the league. You know what the Cowboys have to play for? Putting out good tape so they have jobs next year. And that's not nothing.
I don't think they care.
It's not nothing, but it's pretty fucking close. When you compare it to what the Texans need to do in order to stay in the playoff race and stay kind of ahead of any of their competition right now, yes, people want to play. They want to do, individually good things. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to play well in a team context. That means that I'm going to try and go for highlight tape. I may undercut that route as a cornerback, try and get the pick 6 to blow up my highlights, not necessarily do the thing that's going to be best for the team. Whereas I think the Texans need to play because they still have a fucking chance of making the playoffs and being a postseason team and making some progress there. So while, yes, it's not nothing, it's nothing.
Go ahead, make your pick.
Oh, not the Cowboys. Never the Cowboys. Texans -7.
Yeah,
Texans -7.
I'm there. I'm the same way, man. The Cowboys, I just don't have much faith in what's going on. I just feel, I don't know this. I haven't been in the locker room, but it just seems like the morale of that team is just shot. Give me the Texans.
I want to do it so bad.
Go ahead and pick the Cowboys. Go right ahead.
I want to do it so bad.
They burned me so many times this season.
But you can't.
No, I can't.
You can. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Come on, Cletus. I want you so bad. But if there's any team where I don't believe in the we're gonna rally, we're a team, it's the Cowboys. They are just they're so bad. They're so bad. They've got, I think, really bad leadership. I don't think Mike McCarthy is a bad football coach, but I also don't think he's a great, I'm going to motivate my guys and get the best out of it. He's no Mike Vrabel. You know what I mean? And where's the leadership coming from? Jerry Jones, get the F out of here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah. All right. I'll take the Texans. I'll lay the 7 points. I hate it. I hate it.
I know. It sucks.
Texans are going to be down 14-3 in the second quarter.
Yep. Watch. And that's so Dallas Cowboys this year. Dallas Cowboys.
NFL. Cooper Rush is going to have Trey Lance is going to look like North Dakota State. Trey Lance. Aww. Be up 14-3. All right. Anything else you fellas want to talk about before we get out of here?
Go Bills, man. I'm just excited for this game. It's like pinch me. Freaking pinch me. This is such a huge game for the Bills, dude. I just can it just be 2:30 already?
It's a huge game for the AFC and the NFL, man. It changes the back half of the season, depending on who. Yeah. David, anything else you want to talk about before we?
Wu-Tang is for the children. Just remember that.
Cream. All right. Yeah, all right. I think we're good. We can get out of here on that. As always, follow us on our social medias here and there. Give us some love on the ats. And if you are in Colorado and you feel like coming out for the game of the week, we will be at Stoney's Uptown, so come say what's up to us at the Denver Bills Backers Bar. Anything else, fellas?
That's it, dude.
Love y'all.
Love it.
Go Bills, baby.